Kansas and behind Citadel Athletics. Beyond the Barracks is presented by Cutwater Spirits. Now let's go live to the voice of the Citadel, Brian Giffen.
It is indeed Beyond the Barracks. Brian Giffen with Coach Conroy, and we're back at it. You know, we've been away from this because we've been busy with a few other things the last 3-4 weeks or so, but tonight we are live at El Jefe here on King Street in downtown Charleston. Come down and hang out with us as we talk Citadel basketball for the next hour or so. Beyond the Barracks is presented by Cutwater Spirits, and El Jefe is one of our favorite places. We spent a lot of time here last year. First opportunity to be here this year, Coach, and well, it's good to see you. It's been a couple of days since the game on Saturday. How are things going with you?
Good. We just the guys are the core is back as of Sunday night, and our guys will start class on Wednesday. But we had practice this afternoon, getting ready in our preparation for Furman coming into town on Wednesday. And good to be back down on King Street. Good to be back at El Jefe. And Roy always does a great job of hosting us down here. Right. So I know our fans who are here tonight will have a good time.
You know, it's a basketball season like most sports, particularly I think basketball and baseball is a season of ups and downs. You go through good periods of time, you go through down periods of time. It's been kind of a tough stretch for you guys the last couple of weeks, and obviously you've faced some really good opponents along the way. You made the point that when the SoCon schedule makers came out with it, they didn't really do you any favors. They kind of gave you the top dogs right out of the box.
Well, you know, and at some point you have to go through it, right? As you said, it is the nature of basketball, longer season, 2-semester sport, the number of games, and every team in the country goes through it. I was telling our guys today just a story of, Drake. Right. Know their staff very well, and they were here in Charleston and won the Charleston Classic and were playing great on top of the basketball world, and they just lost their first 2 league games here in January. Right. And, so first 2 losses of the season for them. So everybody goes through it. We have our work cut out for us this year, no question. It's going to be a challenge the whole way. Just the youth we have this year and where we are size-wise and things like that. But we can have great practices and we can come together and find a way to make ourselves a tough out, and that's what we're in the process of trying to do.
You know, a little bit like last year where you had the unfortunate injuries right at the outset of conference play and you had to basically reinvent yourselves along the way. There's an adjustment period there, you know, and you talked about the youth and really not an abundance of experience at the Division I level. So this is one of those things where, as tough as it might be right now, you should, because of how tough it is every game, get better and better because you're more battle tested and, you know, you see the level of challenge you have.
Well, no question. And a lot of our challenge comes from, just the nature of college basketball these days. I think I've mentioned before, but I think 354th or 355th out of 361 teams in Division I game experience. So obviously an inexperienced team in that regard. The older guys that we do have, they've got some Division III and Division II experience, but it's a different level, and there's a different way that they have to play, to be successul. And then also height-wise, I think we're 345th as far as height in Division I. Right. So what that does is you don't have that height at the rim to erase some mistakes that maybe young guys on the perimeter make by blocking shots and things like that. You don't have those dominant matchups that you can throw the ball inside to. Sometimes in the past, we were able to settle things down by getting a post touch and going inside where we maybe had a little bit of an advantage, especially early last year when we had Winston and Q both healthy. Right. And that overcame things early in the season. So we've had to go through the early part of the season where we have to learn how to really execute well, play all 5 guys together, get our timing down, and knock down shots. And, so I think that'll come as we go through the season, but certainly it's going to be a challenge, all year. The Southern Conference, now with the portal and NIL, a lot of teams are very active in that regard. And so we used to be able to count on a position not having experience. Right. That just doesn't happen anymore. I think Chattanooga sent 5 fifth-year guys out there the other night to start the game. Well, there's not going to be a guy that doesn't have game experience, in that lineup that maybe you can pick on a little bit early or things like that. Furman will certainly be that way. Their backcourt is terrific, and they'll have 2 fifth-year guys in that backcourt. And they're very, very good, very well-coached team, and they've got older guys, on the front lines. So you're just going to have the challenges, night in, night out, where you don't have those teams that have a little bit of a mix of youth and experience. Everybody's going to be experienced now.
Right. That Chattanooga game, it wasn't a win. It wasn't the result you were looking for, but there were things that were better than the 2 games prior, the Vanderbilt and then, of course, the Samford game to open conference play. Brody kind of got back to being Brody a little bit in that game, and that's an encouraging sign because you're going to need him like that all year.
It was. The Vanderbilt, I'll start with that game. I'm so happy for Mark Byington, John Krebs. Kremers, who was on my staff for a little while at Tulane. I love those guys on that staff, and obviously Vanderbilt is a place that's special to me since I was there. And it was kind of the beginning a couple years ago when they were making the plans to change their facilities a little bit, and then a year ago when they really made their decision to change their approach in NIL and get into that space. And boy, they've done a great job of putting their roster together. And I've said many times, it is the future, and and the money in NIL and the portal and the way things are, you have to embrace it. If you're going to be successful in this area, but it doesn't come down to just money. And I think what Vanderbilt's done a really good job of, and credit Mark and his staff, is they knew how they wanted to play. They had a vision for that, and they made the right evaluations along with the money. In order to get that team where the SEC now is, they've got a great chance of making the NCAA tournament. So we ran into a really good, experienced team there. Their guards were terrific and seasoned veterans, and I think our guys learned a lot from playing that game. And then the Chattanooga game again. Honor Huff and Bonham had been around forever. They started their careers at VMI. They had to stop in Florida along the way, but they're two fifth-year guards that can really make you pay. And they put pressure on us all night. I thought our guys did a terrific job of defending them, following the script, if you will, to take those two out of the game. But then they had other guys. They had their other transfers really stepped up and got points and did it in different ways. So they're going to be a tough team as it goes. I think they'll be as good offensively as any other team in the league. I think Furman, year in, year out, with the way they play, is another one of those teams that offensively is really, really good. So we'll have our work cut out Wednesday.
Yeah, the Bulldogs will take on Furman on Wednesday. We got 2 tickets to that to give away here at El Jefe, by the way, and we'll do that in a little bit. But Dogs will take on Furman on Wednesday, and that's at McAllister Fieldhouse. That's a 7 o'clock tip, and we encourage you to get out there. That's a great rivalry. That was one of the most fun games all year last year, where the cadets packed the place and all that. You guys ended up not winning the game in overtime when J.P. Pegues, I don't want to give you nightmares, but hit that three-pointer with like a tenth of a second to go. It was a great game, just didn't end right, but that's a really, really good rivalry, and it goes across multiple sports.
Well, I mentioned that to our guys, the last couple of days. We had beaten Chattanooga twice, 2 years in a row at home, and I thought we had a good chance to do it again on Saturday, so that was disappointing. Furman is a team I feel like we beat them two years ago. We should have beaten them last year. We had the lead with less than 3 seconds to go and let them off the hook. But I hope our guys have some confidence in going to that game. Obviously, not many of them were in that game, but they can take solace from the fact that we've had them in our building the last couple of years, and it's a program we've had success against. So they're 13-1. They're a terrific team, but and it'd be a great win for us. But it's a challenge that I think we're up for and can handle. So I can't wait to see our guys play.
Piggybacking on confidence, and we've talked a lot about the youth and experience elements. Confidence is a big deal, and when you go through tough periods of time, guys just have to keep stepping up and keep grinding away, and they have to believe, because sooner or later you right the ship that way.
They have to believe, and they have to have unbelievable confidence in themselves, and that's where our home fans can really help out. And now that the core is back, where the core can really help out to give us that boost of energy and let them know they're behind them. Most of our guys have never played in a Furman Citadel game before, and most of the Furman guys have, and so they know, like Furman coaches don't have to say much about how, hey, Citadel's going to be, McAllister will be a tough place to play. Citadel's going to come ready. The core will be there, that type of thing. Our guys don't know what that looks like, and so they've got to just believe a little bit and trust, but most of all, rely on each other and pick each other up, because as you go through a 40-minute game, you're not going to be perfect. That's one of the things about the game of basketball. It's not a game of perfect. It's about who can kind of minimize the mistakes and play to their strengths, and hopefully we can start establishing an identity about who we are, and really when times are going tough for us, we know, okay, this team is going to do this to try to right the ship in this moment of the game.
There's a gritty, no-quit element there. I mean, the two that stand out, obviously this one that you guys just played, and the Central Arkansas game was this way too, where they'd pull out a little bit and get out to a little bit of a lead, but you guys just kept battling your way back. The closest you got in this Chattanooga game in the second half was 8, but when you were down like 17 and things like that, you kept battling your way right back into it. The Central Arkansas game was even more that way, where you'd battle your way all the way back within a basket or two. But confidence matters.
Well, and that's why I say we have to establish an identity with this team as we go through. It's so important, because when we got that lead cut down to 8 in the second half, where's the ball going to go how are we going to look to score here? What are we going to rely on? What defensively can we really hang our hat on? And we're establishing that. We're getting closer to it. But in that game, I think we missed 2 free throws when we were down 8, and then we gave up a 3 on the other end.
Right.
And then we got it down to 8 again. We made a 3, and then he came right back and hit another 3.
Right.
And that's where our transition defense has to be better. That's one of the things year in, year out we always hang our hat on, is that we don't give you up easy points in transition. We have to get back to that. And then, we always make we invert our offense a little bit. We're never the tallest team in the country.
Right.
But we'll post up our guards. We'll get our guards downhill on the drive. We'll do some things to get to the free throw line. And we're starting to do that again, like we always have. But we need to then convert those free throws. And so if we start doing those things and getting back and getting our defense set so you have to score against our 5 guys, getting the ball into the paint and back out so that we can establish a little bit of an identity there to make you guard us on that end and be physical. When we get that identity established, that's when we'll be able to break through and close some of those gaps.
One of the things that helped you guys stay closer in this one was you did cut down on the number of turnovers and things like that, cut down on the number of steals. Now, they didn't press you the whole game. They pressed you, though, a good bit in the second half. But that's important. Obviously, you can't create extra possessions for them.
Well, we have some guys, out of position a little bit that way in handling the ball, and a little bit of his chemistry, a little bit of his game experience, but certainly taking care of the basketball is paramount. And, year in, year out, we're one of the leaders in the country in not turning the ball over. Unfortunately, this year we're one of the leaders on the other end, and we've got to really, as we go through these next 16 league games in the conference tournament, that's something else that we really have to correct, and we're working really hard on it. The guys that will be here tonight, I see a big crowd of them over there. They'll tell you, I was on them pretty hard today about that, like I am every day. But really, it's time. We have to establish and be who we are.
Well, we've got guests here tonight. Now, you said that Christian Moore would be here. You also said that a former Bulldog, Quentin Malora, Q, is going to be here.
Yeah,
in fact, I think he just walked in.
Yeah, Q's going to be in the house, and great to have him. I'm so proud of him and what he's doing with his pro career right now, and he's going to have some great opportunities, I think, at the end of the month here to continue that. But, when he gets a little bit of a break, and his first thought is he wants to come back to Charleston and support the guys. So he was at practice today. He worked out himself, but he also was out there at practice helping us. It just says a lot. And the transfer portal, everybody has a different opinion on it. But if the transfer portal allows me to introduce people like Quentin Malora Brown to the Citadel,
right,
and get them here and help them get a Citadel graduate degree and become part of our program and introduce them to what we are and have them become part of our family, then that's one of the great gifts of the portal. And that's the part about it I love, because it is awesome to see them back in town. We have Stephen Clark and Brady Spence and Winston Hill and Q. Those guys are just recent graduates for us, but they're around the program and here.
Yeah.
That means more to me than anything.
Well, Q, of course, you could probably, undoubtedly, the one thing is you run out of eligibility sooner or later. You could really use a Q this year, couldn't you?
Well, we can use a Q any year for sure. And Mr. Double-Double, old reliable. And, he's what I talked about before. When you have a Quentin Malora Brown in there, you can be basic early in the year and really teach the guys and let them grow at the right pace, because you have someone that can, hold down his position one-on-one in the post against no matter who he's playing against in the league, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, no question. Well, we're going to step aside and take a break. We'll bring Q up here, I think, in the next segment. He's over there with all the guys. So I'm Brian Giffen. He's Coach Conroy. This is Beyond the Barracks. It's presented by Cutwater Spirits, and we're live tonight at El Jefe. We'll be here a bunch the next several Mondays. We'll be at
next 7 weeks, I believe. Next 7 Mondays. So.
We and El Jefe will become much better acquainted over the next several weeks, but that'll be fun. We always love coming here. We will have Q on the other side of this break. Right here, we take a timeout. By the way, we mentioned Joe Mack is in the studio tonight doing his usual great job. We appreciate Joe. And we are back with more Beyond the Barracks after this. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network.
I'm Brody Fox. I'm a grad transfer student here at the Citadel. I'm from Matamidi, Minnesota. I would say I started playing for as long as I can remember. My dad was my coach and my brother's coach all growing up. So I don't really remember when I started playing, but it's just been my whole life. Before my time here at the Citadel, I played 4 years at University of Wisconsin Stout, where I ended up getting my degree and then transferring here for my last year at the Citadel. Yeah, I would say on my visit, just the connection I made with the coaches and former and past players, as well as Charleston being a city that I want to live in. Yeah, I would say honestly just the weather and having beaches coming all the way from Minnesota. I'm curious what the summer is going to be like, so definitely the weather. Yeah, I'd say just a hard-working player that's going to do the right things on and off the court and just honestly works hard and just does what he needs to be do for the team to win. I'm a big, I would say, slasher and just aggressive getting to the rim. LeBron James. I would say listen to music, chill out with friends, FaceTime with friends back home and family as well.
Make sure you're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March 6th through the 10th for the 2025 Ingalls SoCon Basketball Championships. It's fun for the whole family as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a title and a berth in the Big Dance, the NCAA tournament. This year, your support will directly benefit small businesses impacted by Hurricane Helene. Book your travel and tickets at SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harris Cherokee Center Asheville box office today.
I'm Cameron Glover. I'm a senior. I play point guard and I'm from Trussville, Alabama. So I've been playing basketball since I was 5. And my dad got me into the game. He got me and my brother into the game. And so I played all the way through high school. I started at Division III, so I was at a Division III called Birmingham Southern Alabama. I played there for 3 years. And then I transferred to the University of Montevallo, a Division II. I played there this past year. And then I decided for my last year I wanted to make the next jump and ended up coming to the Citadel. So the coaching staff, I connected really well to Coach Conroy and Coach Reynolds in the city of Charleston. It just has a lot to offer. So definitely the beaches. Being able to get to the beach, spend time with the guys there has been my most enjoyable part of being here. So just to come in and be myself, add that leadership and veteran experience, and then add some outside shooting as well. I'd say I'm a combo guard. I can shoot it and I can play make. So being able to do both of those is kind of the aspects of my game that I bring. So that's a tough one. I'd probably say either Kyrie Irving or Kobe Bryant. Spend time with my friends and watch Netflix. So.
The Barracks. I'm Brian Giffen with Coach Conroy, and we're happy to have a whole bunch of Citadel people here, a bunch of players seated over there in the middle, and Coach and his wife and everybody over there with him. And our guest is Quentin Melora Brown. Man, what a pleasant surprise to see you all the way here from the Philippines, huh?
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your foray now into pro ball and how that's going.
It's been fun so far. I was in the Philippines for 6 months. I went over there in July. First kind of the season there is over now. I'm looking at kind of finding my next spot, but it's been a ton of fun.
How much difference, I'm sure a lot, is there style of play-wise over there? I mean, in a professional league like that, overseas, as opposed to playing in the SoCon and playing here?
I mean...
It's still basketball, I get that.
Yeah. It's probably just a little faster pace. They like to get a few more threes up. Very much like SoCon, though. Just a lot of threes, a lot of layups, not as much mid-range. So,
did you run across many other American players when you were playing in the Philippines?
Not so much. I think I'll run into a lot more if I can get to Japan, which is my next goal. So I know there's a bunch of guys who are there, but not many that I knew. Not many that I knew.
You know, there's so many opportunities to quote-unquote play pro ball that a lot of people don't necessarily here in this country know about. Of course, you know, you've got the G League and you've got the NBA, but there are pro leagues, countless pro leagues all over the world.
Absolutely, and they're all levels of basketball too. You know, there's a lot of them are just different steps, right? And people go up and down the leagues all the time.
Now, how do you find these gigs? Do you have an agent that does this for you?
Yeah, I have an agent who he does all that stuff for me. I talk to him about kind of my goals. He talks to me about my options, and we just kind of work out what the best place is.
You know, there's a lot of demand for guys that are 6'10".
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's a huge advantage for me.
You can't coach 6'10".
No, not at all.
But we're visiting with Quentin Melora Brown, who, of course, we called him Mr. Double-Double a bunch last year with the Citadel, where he had a great season for the Dogs. Here tonight with us at El Jefe, presented by Cutwater Spirits, and this is Beyond the Barracks. We do this every Monday throughout football, basketball, and some even into baseball season, and it's a great time. We do it here at El Jefe regularly during basketball season, and obviously we'll be here now the next several weeks. But Q, as you look back on your experiences here, obviously you had a wealth of experiences before you ever even got here, but when you look back on your experiences here, the close-knit element of the team last year and all that, what are your thoughts, fond or otherwise, when you look back?
Man, just all the memories here, like the attachments to the guys that, all those relationships that I've made, just, it's always fun to be in Charleston, but it's even more fun when you're here with friends.
You know, I got to be honest. I mean, I think a lot of people feel this way. Injuries are part of the game. Things like that happen. But I still wonder, you know, what kind of season last season might have been had it not been for the timing of the, you know, losing both Christian and then you lose, you know, Winston really kind of right together, right at the beginning of conference play, and it changed the whole season around.
Yeah, it's always tough to look back and say what if, but it is what it is, right? You know, I still think that we had great memories that we made. Right. We still had a good season overall, just maybe not what we could have had, but it's still a great experience for all of us.
I always just wondered, you know, how competitive and how they might have fared in the SoCon had you guys had both. But again, injuries are part of the game. You know, there's no sense. But from a leadership perspective, are there things in particular that are unique to the Citadel that you took with you when you left here that maybe you didn't gain at a Vanderbilt or somewhere else?
Absolutely. Just kind of, how do you mentor younger guys, right? That's something that I just didn't have the ability to do before, right? As you get older and older, now you're like, okay, I have young guys here who I'm mentoring, not just in basketball either, in life.
Right.
And that was just an experience that I gained here that I wouldn't have had the opportunity anywhere else, and just kind of being a figure for them to ask their questions as they're growing into who they're going to become. Like, they could ask me questions about anything from financial to, and I can give them financial in life, basketball,
right,
and I'll give them my thoughts and opinions, and they can do with it what they will. But just having that role and that kind of leadership position was very different for me.
You know, being a mentor is a lot, even on a sports team, is a lot. It tends to be something where you mentor a lot more things than just things involving the game, as it turns out, because you're with these guys so much.
Absolutely. And then just kind of, you know, basketball bleeds into everything when it's your sport, right? When you're feeling good about basketball, life feels good, school feels good, your relationships feel good. In the same way, it's when basketball isn't going well, it bleeds into everything else, and every day waking up feels tough, right? I got to get up, I got to go get shots up, I got to go work out, we have practice later, we're going to get yelled at later. And how do you manage those emotions? And being a vet, you kind of learn, okay, it's just basketball, right? But younger guys, it feels so much higher and so much lower.
Isn't it funny when you reach the level of even senior and grad student level player, how much differently you perceive the yelling and stuff and the value that's actually in that yelling and what it's given you in the years prior.
Absolutely. You take everything so to heart when you're young.
Right.
When you're younger, like every word you're almost hanging off of it. Coach just made a joke with Christian about it. But he's like, man, what happened? Last year you used to, everything I said, yes sir, I hear you. Now it feels like every time I'm talking to you, oh, what did you say?
Right.
But it's, it's just part of that learning, okay, coach is yelling, but he's just trying to get us better.
So you're just at the beginning, essentially, of your professional career, and obviously you aspire to play at as high a level as possible and as many years as possible. Who wouldn't? That's one of the beautiful things about the 6'10", too. However well you develop your basketball skills, you've got the frame and the athletic ability to give you the chance.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I mean, I hope that I have a long and plentiful career, but, just enjoying it is really the key for me.
Right.
So long as I'm having fun, I'll keep playing. The day I'm not having fun, I'll switch and do something else.
To be honest with you, I think the guys who have the most success are the ones who are able to manage it that way, where it's not a job, it's a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you can have success in anything you put your mind to, so long as you enjoy what you're doing. If you're having fun with it, you're excited about it, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to find a way to have success financially, career, in that field.
Well, it's great to have you here, Matt. Now, one last question. Do you plan to eventually, whenever it is you are done having fun playing, do you plan to stay in the game? Do you plan to make coaching, or really have you not even scratched that yet?
I've thought about it. I struggle with the idea of having to recruit kids.
Right.
So, that for me is...
You got to be a sales guy then.
Well, not even that. Just man, we almost had them. I would hate to be... develop all these relationships with guys who I want to play for me just to lose them.
Right.
I don't know if I could do that. That's the hard part for me. But maybe I'll revisit it down the line when I'm getting closer to the end of my career.
I got news for you. What you just described is sales to the T. You develop the relationships, then they end up going with somebody else. That's just the nature of the game. Q, man, it's so good to see you, buddy.
It's great to be back.
We will, hopefully, you'll still be here Wednesday for the game, yeah?
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll pull you over courtside and have you on the radio with us for a bit.
Sounds good.
All right, Quentin Malora-Brown, Mr. Double-Double to us, spending some time with us here on Beyond the Barracks. He, of course, was with the Citadel last year and just completed his first professional season in the Philippines and getting ready for his next one. All right here we'll take a timeout. On the other side of it, I think we're going to bring Christian Moore up. I'll tell you what, we'll just tell you who it is when we get back. That'll keep you in suspense. Back with more after this. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network.
My name is Shola Adebisi. I'm from Alpharetta, Georgia. My position is forward, and I'm a junior. From my childhood, my two older brothers, Tawani and Kaude, they were the ones that put basketball in my hands, and since then I've been playing basketball. Once I got into college, I was a regular student at Florida State for a couple of years, and then I walked onto the team there, and now I'm at the Citadel on scholarship. I chose the Citadel because when I came on my visit, I met all the coaching staff and a couple of the players, and it felt like everybody was close together, and I wanted to come to a situation where the coaches and the team felt like a family. So far, I would probably say the food. Every restaurant I go to in Charleston, there's always great food, and the weather's pretty nice too as well. For me, Bulldog fans can expect a lot of intensity, athleticism, and just a passion for the game of basketball. LeBron James, that's the easy answer. Outside of basketball, I like to spend a lot of time with my teammates, but other than that, if I'm alone, I like to listen to music, play video games, and that's really about it.
I started playing basketball around 5 years old, played in a very small town in Massachusetts, and then I went off to high school at Wilbraham Munson Academy, boarding school up in Western Massachusetts. Played there for all 4 years of my high school, and then also played AAU with Expression's Elite out of the Nike EYBL. and then played my undergraduate career in college at Worcester Polytechnic Institute, which is in Worcester, Massachusetts. I chose the Citadel because I thought it was an incredible opportunity to get my master's degree. I'm getting my MBA along with playing Division I basketball and being challenged on and off the court. Charleston's a beautiful city. I absolutely love that it's on the water, the beaches, the golf courses, along with all the people in the small, intimate city. Bulldog fans can expect that I'm a workhorse. I'll leave it all out there on the court. I'm gritty, and yeah, I'll give all my energy. I'll be a great leader, along with helping the team. Anything I can do to help the team win. Yeah, my playing style is a little different. I'd say, like I said, I'm very tough, looking for contact, trying to be the most physical player out there. If I had to do a comparison, I'd say Nikola Jokic. However, definitely a more physical play style rather than the touch and finesse that he has. My favorite player growing up was Kevin Garnett. Really liked his like big dog, tough mentality. I wouldn't say I'm that much of a trash talker as much as Kevin Garnett. However, he was definitely the toughest guy on the court. Outside of basketball, I love to read and write, along with go to church, and yeah, then from there just chill with my guys around here, as well as my friends from home.
Make sure you're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March 6th through the 10th for the 2025 Ingalls SoCon Basketball Championships. It's fun for the whole family as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a title and a berth in the Big Dance, the NCAA tournament. This year, your support will directly benefit small businesses impacted by Hurricane Helene. Book your travel and tickets at SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harris Cherokee Center Asheville box office today.
Hefe here on King Street in downtown Charleston. Brian Giffen, Coach Conroy in the building. A whole lot of Citadel folks in the building tonight, including the athletic director, Mike Capaccio, also Kevin Olivet, the marketing director. We've got an array of bigwigs and ball players in here. And one of those ball players is none other than Christian Moore. Coach and I were just talking about you a few minutes ago up here. Great to have you here for one. And how are you feeling? You're still making progress, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm just happy to be back out there this season, especially after getting hurt last year. This season's really my first actual season. Monday or Saturday was my first conference game actually.
Right.
So it's all a new experience. It's in my second year, but it's still very new for me.
From a perspective standpoint, everybody, even as a kid, everybody gets banged up. You might miss an occasional game or play or whatever for this or that. But how was it for you having an extended period of time you had to be away, and then on top of that, an extended amount of rehab to get your game back on track?
It was really tough, I'll be honest. I think I was out for about 9 months, so it's hard because after you get through 1 month, you get to 2 months, you're like, dang, I got 6 more months of this. Right. And it's just you just have to put one foot in front of the other. Honestly, what helped me is I just forgot about the end goal. I just started living life for the journey instead of rather than just the destination. Eventually, the goal was to get back to basketball, but it was just let me just enjoy this rehab while I can still do it.
That's kind of the mindset of just chip away at it and look up at the scoreboard at the end. Mm-hmm. A little bit, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel. If it looks far away, if you just keep working and not paying attention to it, next thing you know, it's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on this season? Obviously, this has been, like Coach and I were talking about, you have teams have ups and downs. This is very much a young group, a totally different group than the one you were a part of a year ago, and there are a handful of you guys that are holdovers, but what are your thoughts on, obviously, the season to this point? We got a whole lot of it left, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my thoughts are just, I'm excited for what we're building. Obviously, obviously a lot of scores haven't gone our way, but I feel like we're just building in a good direction, and we're just like, I see this team, I see a whole bunch of guys who just play really hard, play together, and it's just like eventually these scores are going to turn around and turn in our favor, and I know that.
Yeah, one of the things, honestly, I mean, that's been a struggle of late is shooting the basketball for whatever reason. And it's not like you guys are missing badly. It's just a lot of shots that'll bounce on both sides of the rim and go off. And there's just a lot of that. That's just basketball sometimes.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, we just know one of these games, it's all going to click, and we're going to start hitting these shots, and these teams are going to get really scared of us. So, and then we're just honestly just really building something really good in our practices and our games. Yeah. And like, well, it's not necessarily showing up on the scoreboard yet. It will eventually.
You know, this is a group that, and Brody talked about this way back, at the end of the summer, about how close-knit this group is. And honestly, that was a thing that this group had a year ago also. There's a thing about playing basketball at the Citadel and the culture and all that stuff where everybody bands together, and it's generally a pretty close-knit group.
Yeah, when you're around these guys so much, it's like whether you like them or you don't, those are going to become your brothers. So it's just like, that definitely helps on the court, because it's like, this guy, I've hung out with this guy for the last 10 hours. It's like, I know him, he knows me, we played each other, we've gotten shots up. Like, you always walk in the Citadel gym and you see guys getting shots up together, and we just eventually just like learn each other's games and just learn how to play with each other, and we all just enjoy being around each other, and that helps us compete for each other for our common goal.
Coach talked about it a little bit ago. It's a little bit different. All conference games are this way, but the one element with the Citadel and Furman, and it's this way obviously in football too, there's a real rivalry thing in the state there between those two, and Coach was talking a little bit more about this will be your first opportunity to play in one of these Citadel-Furman games.
Yeah, it will be, so I'm excited because my dad went to Furman and he's driving down for the game, so it'll be really exciting.
I assume he's rooting for you, right?
Yeah, he will be. I'll make sure he's rooting for me. So it'll be really exciting, just knowing like my family ties, like my dad and Coach Conroy played against each other, and just like it's really been like a big rivalry in my family, and just being able to like contribute and play in it on my own is just just a great experience.
It's a funny thing. I've learned stuff about the Citadel-Furman rivalry since I've been here that I never really knew anything about. Patrick Covington, who of course is the co-offensive coordinator on the football coaching staff, he's a Furman alum. So who do you suppose everybody all week is banging on when the team's getting ready to play Furman? But there's a lot of good-natured banter there, but it's a serious rivalry too. Now, you were watching it last year, unfortunately, because you couldn't play, but they really stole one here a year ago. They snatched it right at the end to tie it up and then won it in overtime. What are your memories of that?
Man, that game sat with me for a while because we were just right there. I remember me and Winston Hill were back there just like cheering our guys on. We had a pretty good lead going into the halftime, and then they just started inching back. But that's the thing about the SoCon. Every single team is good. No lead is safe, but that's honestly what makes it a great league. It's just like the top isn't that far from the bottom. So it's just like every single night, day in, day out, you're going to have to come in, you're going to have to compete. And honestly, you can't get complacent in the SoCon. Like the number 1 team could be the number 7 team by the end. And it's just like, it's honestly just what makes SoCon a great league.
So you're in your second year experience-wise, at least. Now, because of the games that you missed, you're still probably technically like a freshman in terms of the number of games. But do you find yourself more and more in a role where you try to help other guys, mentor other guys, and help them along, as this is such a young group, and then there's so many that have been brought in from other places too?
Yeah, I definitely try to help some of the guys out. And definitely this year, I've been a little bit more of in a mentor role on the team, just because I'm one of the guys who has more experience at the school. So it's just like if guys need help with the plays, need help with getting drills, getting shots up, I try to be that guy, that voice where I can help these guys out, just because I know I've had the experience of having guys help me out last year. I try to kind of give back to it.
You know what a lot of people maybe don't think about that much outside of this culture, the fact that this is a military academy and the way the school operates and is largely constructed, it takes a unique individual to come and do a career here. Does it not?
I mean, it definitely does. I mean, the guys that are in our locker room, just they're strong-willed guys, right? Because it's not easy getting up every day and doing some of the things that we have to do, but it makes you a better person in the long run, and that it just improves your mental fortitude and everything in that nature.
It's a funny thing because you always look for it when you recruit. but I think it elevates that much more not only the level of, but also the type of character you're looking for in a player. It's not for everybody, but the ones it is for really thrive.
Yes, and it also, like, just knowing you have a bunch of guys that just, like, are going to give their all to what they do and are mentally strong, it helps your basketball team. Like, the stuff off in the court translates directly to the basketball court. Like, if you can put up with the things that they put up, you can put up with a bad practice.
Right.
You can put up with a bad loss and just know you have to bounce back.
Well, there are the elements of dedication and commitment and, day in and day out work ethic and all those things that I think are unique to a culture like this. The other thing, confidence. Confidence is a big thing. Pro baseball players that get paid $30 million a year go through it, or a guy will go through a hitting slump. Sometimes shooting is the same kind of way, where it feels like everything you throw up there is a brick and off the side of the rim or this or that. But sometimes it just takes hitting a couple of them to get going again. And it's really been a tough ride the last couple of games for this team shooting the basketball.
Yeah, me included. So, like, what I personally done, I just tried to get back to my routine, and like,
right.
I realized I was caring too much about like the result of the shot.
Right.
And I just had to get back to just enjoying shooting the ball, just being a confident shooter. And I feel like a lot of guys need to do that. Like, just not necessarily just like stop worrying about the outcome of something.
Right.
And just worry about like it's about the journey, like not the destination.
It's the craziest thing in the world. You've been there before. You can do this. You've done this before. But sometimes when you're going through a tough time, it just seems impossible too.
It just seems impossible. But you just got to lean on your brothers, get back to your routine, and just have confidence in yourself.
Now, you missed the Sanford game, just a little under the weather, I guess, right after the holiday. I assume you're in good shape now. You played a lot of minutes against Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the weirdest thing ever. I remember I just woke up the day of Sanford. My parents had drove down for the game. I just woke up and I just wasn't feeling the best, and just like I tried to go through walkthrough, and I was just like, yeah, this isn't the one.
Not today, huh?
Yes, sir.
So I feel like that every morning, man. I just had to get back to that stick-to-itiveness. Christian, it's great to see you,
yes,
brother.
Sir. Thank you so much for having me.
Look, have a great game against Furman. Let's get a win.
Yes, sir. We need one. We're going to get one.
Yeah, no question. Let's do that. The great Christian Moore of the Bulldogs spending time with us here. Coach Conroy will come back up. We'll preview this Furman game on the other side of this timeout. Right here, we take said timeout. We remind you that Beyond the Barracks is presented by Cutwater Spirits, and we're live at El Jefe as we will be for the next Buku Mondays in a row. So come join us 7 to 8 every Monday. Back with Coach Conroy on the other side. You're listening to the Citadel Bulldogs Radio Network.
My name is Eze Wally. I'm a freshman. I'm a point guard, and I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. I started playing basketball pretty late. I started playing basketball at the age of 12. Kind of got into it by my friends playing. I played baseball at first, but my friends started playing. I got into it. I fell in love with the game here right after, and I'm here. Definitely the coaching staff. When I came on my visit, Coach Conroy, Coach Reynolds, even the kids even the teammates on the team made me feel at home, and I felt really comfortable here. And they showed the most amount of love to get me to come here. Definitely still my teammates. It doesn't matter where we are, in the room, on the court, or just downtown. Just hanging out with my teammates is probably my most favorite part. I'm definitely a downhill guard. Get into the paint, get the ball to my teammates, throw some lobs, bring some energy, score when it's needed. Definitely LeBron James. He's the GOAT, the best player of all time. Probably read, watch some movies, hang out with friends.
Hey, I'm Paxton Davidson. I am a junior this year. I'm from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and I'm a shooting guard / point guard. I'd say from a young age, I loved playing sports. I was super competitive. My dad was the one that really got me into basketball. From a young age, I was always out in the backyard playing basketball with him, and it kind of just went from there. Got really good at it, I guess, because of his help, and got to high school and got pretty good, I guess, and just kept playing and kept getting better. So now that I had the opportunity to come to the Citadel, I said, why not, and let's do it. I think it has a lot to do with culture and a coach that wants you. That's the two biggest reasons why I came, and an opportunity to come somewhere else. So I'm going to say the food. Charleston has some of the best food I've had so far. A lot of grit, a lot of competitiveness, and hopefully a lot of threes going in. Like I said, pretty gritty, really competitive. I'm always going to give 100% on the court at all times, and hopefully make a lot of buckets and be a good teammate. Favorite basketball player growing up was Kobe Bryant. I'd say probably now it's more towards Steph Curry. I love playing video games outside of basketball, but I'm really into a health kick and going on walks and a lot of that kind of stuff. So.
I'm Dante Curse, small forward, class of 2028, and I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I started at a young age, I'd say probably around like 8 or 9, and then I started playing AAU like the age of 13, and then ever since I've just been working my way up. I felt like I can become a better person, a better man, get better every day. There's really no distractions here, so I can just really lock in on what I'm trying to accomplish. I'll probably say like downtown. It give me like the Richmond vibes, like the city. It's a lot going on down there. I hope to bring a lot of energy, do whatever it takes for me and my team to win, and just be positive all the time. I would say I'm a very versatile player. I can get a lot of stops on the defensive end, help my teammates to score. Kevin Durant, video game.
Make sure you're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March 6th through the 10th for the 2025 Ingalls SoCon Basketball Championships. It's fun for the whole family as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a title and a berth in the Big Dance, the NCAA tournament. This year, your support will directly benefit small businesses impacted by Hurricane Helene. Book your travel and tickets at SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harris Cherokee Center Asheville box office today.
Beyond the Barracks, presented by Cutwater Spirits. I'm Brian Giffen, Coach Conroy alongside. We've also got several Bulldogs in the house, got several Bulldog alums, and we've got, we're awful close to the speakers, so yeah, let me adjust that over a little bit. But Coach Conroy putting the headset back on here, and there's a good turnout for this thing tonight.
Yeah, good. Well, always fun to be down here, and encourage everybody to come down to the Future Mondays here at 7 o'clock.
Yep, 7 to 8 every Monday beyond the Barracks right here at El Jefe, and really for just about the rest of basketball season. I think we also have one of these at Dunleavy's somewhere down the road, but
the last one right before the Southern Conference tournament.
Yeah. Well, now you got Furman. We talked a little bit about them, in the opening part, the first segment of the show. It is a rivalry of sorts in various sports. Your neighbors. There's a long history there. What are your thoughts? You said I think you said they're like 10 or 13-1 or something like that.
Oh, they're a fantastic team. 13-1 right now. Bob Ritchie does a great job coaching them. I was there for 3 years. Have a lot of good friends up that way, but always ready to battle the Paladins and try to get that win. Going back to the days as a cadet, I think they've been in the league since 1968, and we've played them at least twice every year since then. So that's 50-some years of playing them twice a year. So it's an old rival, and we've had success against them the last couple of years, even though they've been terrific. They've been in the NCAA tournament, in the last 2 years. Beat Virginia in that game. Their backcourt is sensational.
Yeah.
They have 2 young men that were not in Division I to start and transferred up from Division II, but they did a great job of evaluating that talent. And those guys are as good a backcourt as there is in the league. So we'll have our hands full there. What they do so well, they really get out and are skilled, and they push the ball in transition. They're on you really fast. If you're not ready to defend that 3-point line, they're a typical new age basketball team in that they run that transition. They run their fast break to get those threes.
Yeah.
And if you're not back and set and communicating, they'll knock you out in a hurry. They did that to us last year at their place.
Yeah.
We were right there, and then just bang bang. They made some quick threes on us and put us on our heels. So that'll be the first thing, is getting back defensively. And then I think for us, when we're successful against them, it's when we are physical and we get it to a little bit of a half-court game. We will execute our offense and we make them, guard multiple actions and multiple screens, and we make those guys work. There's nothing like good guards if you can get into their legs a little bit by being physical and making that part of the game, making them defend on that end. I thought we did that to number 2 and number 3 for Chattanooga.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big part of them not having quite the spark on the offensive end they normally have. We just didn't do it throughout the lineup because we didn't execute as well as we need to in every phase. But if we can do that against Furman, then we can give ourselves a chance. And then it's going to come down to, a lot of loose balls and 50-50 plays. I think we'll have a good cadet contingent there in the core supporting us, and we need that. We're still fighting and scrapping. If we can get this one at home before we go on the road to East Tennessee, that would be a big momentum piece for us. And so we're putting everything we can into this game to go after it. And count on the old guard, count on guys like Charlie Baker and guys like that to get out there with that Furman, that lack of Furman love, and get out there and help spur the Bulldogs on. So hopefully we'll have a great crowd in McAllister, and our guys will play with a lot of energy and spirit and get to the semester started off right.
It's an amazing, intangible thing to whatever degree, but in something like this, we were talking about it earlier, a team that's kind of going through a rough patch and maybe could use a little jolt of confidence. What an amazing atmosphere and a big supportive crowd can do to help get that going.
No question. Our guys, the energy that we have to play with, where we have some challenges, and so we got to play with, we got to out-energy you, out-work you, out-hustle you, and that is, that's a 15-round fight. You have to come out every round and really be able to bring it to your opponent, and I think we've made strides in that area, but nothing like a home crowd to help push us over the edge in that regard, and hopefully at home, we can get that done.
It's amazing how much it doesn't always get talked about, but as important a thing is to out-discipline your opponent. Sometimes that'll help you overcome some athletic disadvantages.
That's a big thing. We have to control when the game is in transition. We want to get out and run ourselves some, but we have to be pull the pace, just to be in control of it. So we run, but we don't let you run. We don't need to just run and get the game flowing up and down. Our league is always one of there's 32 Division I basketball leagues, and our league is always at the very top, either 1, 2, or 3 in the ability to shoot the three. And if you let that court get spread out on the defensive end and you try to defend our league shooting the three, you're going to be in for a long, long night. There's just about every team in our league can make 15 threes on a given night and really throw a knockout punch at you. It's hard to come back from that. So we need to make sure that no matter who we're playing, we get back, get our defense set, and give ourselves a chance in that regard. But then we have to take advantage and get out and run ourselves a little bit. And that's where that discipline you talk about, really comes into play.
Yeah, the fundamental element and the discipline part. In the years that I had the pleasure to work at Butler, that was one of the things where they didn't have the best players necessarily, but they had good tournament runs because they played such a disciplined style of basketball and, very unselfish. A lot of the things that you talk about and a lot of the things that you like, that was the style that they played, and it served them very well. They won a lot of games just with that.
Yeah. You and I agree on a lot of things, but the glory years of Butler now with Brad Stevens, they had some pretty talented folks.
There's no doubt. Yeah, Gordon Hayward, yeah. But I think
we're talking first-round NBA draft picks, right?
But I think some of that is born out of their style of play, and then they have the success, and that helped them. You know what I mean?
No, I'm giving you a hard time. But no, it's they combined. I actually give them more credit for the discipline they have, and Coach Stevens is a really good friend. But when you have that kind of talent and they're still willing to sacrifice parts of their game to where you don't know maybe how good they really are because they understand that basketball is a game of 5 guys playing together.
Right.
And, the Gordon Haywards of the world and that, they didn't showcase everything they could do all the time. If there was a key moment in the game, they might take over and show that, but they knew that the whole needed to be greater than just those 5 individuals. And so they would sacrifice and play with great discipline and make sure the pace was exactly where they needed it to be.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to be around it, and obviously you and I have talked about this. You were a large fan of the coaching styles of Bob Knight, and I covered Bob Knight several years ago. Motion offense, play good defense, share the basketball, make good passes, and all that stuff. And it's just the game is so much more fun to watch and to call when it's played that way.
Well, I will let you in on a little known fact about those Butler basketball teams. So one thing that when you look at them, and you'll know when I say it, but people don't say it usually right off the bat, is just how physical those teams were.
Right.
Their physicality was unbelievable. They could go play Duke in a national championship game, and there was no, not Power 5 type. They were bringing Power 5 type strength and physicality to that game.
Yeah.
Their strength coach, Jim Peel, who lives here in Charleston now. Wife actually teaches some classes, so works for the NCAA. But Coach Peel
worked with him at Butler.
Coach Peel is a great strength coach, and he was the strength coach my senior year at the Citadel when we had a pretty physical team. At least I like to think our backcourt was pretty physical, but we were, and we had success. And Coach Peel has been a part of really bringing the right kind of physicality to college basketball.
I haven't had the opportunity to see Jim yet since I've been here. That will happen, but that speaks a little bit. You always talk about guys that you coach against and you coach around that are friends from other. It's a big fraternity kind of the business that we're in a lot of respects. You might be going against somebody in the biggest game of the year who was your biggest ally 2, 3, 5, whatever years ago.
No question, but I was thrilled. I've been able to see him, every so often or whatever, and talk to him. And I'm glad he's back in town, and hopefully we'll get him out. Maybe we'll get him out to the game Wednesday night.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd love to have him out here for one of these shows too. He and I were at Butler back in 03, 04, that era. So yeah, long time. Well, obviously, if you had to identify 2 keys to being successful against Furman, what would those be, or is the list longer than 2?
No, I'd put it right at conversion defense, which is our stopping their transition and then taking care of the basketball. When we do those 2 things, we're going to make progress, and as long as we keep making progress each night out, good things will happen.
A good start, I think, would be good for you guys too, just to get off to a good quick start, wouldn't it?
It would, but I think it's a byproduct of what I just said. If we get back and get our defense set, and they have to work for all their points in the half court, then we're going to give ourselves a chance.
Well, the Bulldogs, hey, how are we going to give these away? Now, I always put the pressure on Mo when we were doing this over at Over the Horizon. How do you want to give these away? We got 2 tickets for the game Wednesday.
I tell you what, I think just about everybody in Charleston has my cell phone number. So first one to hit my cell and say, I want those tickets, Coach. Right. You got them.
And no, we're not giving out his cell phone number on the radio.
I think everybody already has it. I've got tens of thousands of assistant coaches out there that I think they have my cell phone, so they all text me.
Right. It's funny though, the communication age. How much do you? If we have a couple minutes here, how much do you communicate with other coaches during the season? Just an occasional text checking in. Hey, I saw you guys did that. You know what I mean? Just around your relationship.
No, quite a bit. I talk to they're short conversations, obviously, because we're focused on the next game and watching film and things like that. But you see the scores, and so you hit them with a quick congratulatory text or just different things like that. The most recent ones, like Richard Pitino had an unbelievable win. I don't know if you haven't seen the ending to that game, go to ESPN's website.
Okay.
But they beat Nevada. Another friend of mine, Steve Alford, at the buzzer.
Oh yeah.
The ball just rolled. They were on the floor to scramble. The ball rolled out of the scramble, and they knocked in a shot at the buzzer to win in the pit. And
wow,
that was a great one. Patrick Riley, I talked to him on the way here. He's at Bellarmine. They had a tough loss
here last year. Yeah,
Patrick was here last year. They had a tough loss against Central Arkansas, where they had an unfortunate call on the baseline at the end of the game, and a technical foul ended up being called. So you reach out to those guys you feel sorry for, and or are going through tough times, but at the same time you congratulate others who are on the other end of it, like Richard was.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I think it changes you when you work in sports, too. Obviously, we both grew up as huge sports fans and all, but at least for me, it kind of changed how I view teams as far as favorites and this and that. I probably have favorites I've had forever, but I find myself rooting for individuals that I know that are at this place or at that place more because they're your friends and they're good guys and you want to see them do well.
No question. You stop rooting for the jersey or the name on the jersey, and you root for the individuals. And some years you know people involved, and others you don't. And but when you do know somebody involved on that team, it's hard not to root for them.
God, you mentioned Steve Alford. That was a classic Hoosier player, one of the best ones ever.
Yeah, Coach was here. They were here in the Charleston Classic as well. I practiced over at McAllister Fieldhouse during that time, and actually, Coach Alford and the Nevada team ate here at El Jefe twice, I think, during that trip. So in the back room back there, Roy Neal's got a fantastic back room with TVs and a separate
like a little gathering
serving
space.
area, great gathering space back there. And anytime you have a group, anybody listening, if you have a group and you want to have a function, terrific space in the back.
Oh yeah, and it's right here on King Street in downtown Charleston. Good call. Yeah, Steve Alford mentions always a good one. You talk about 3-point shooters. Steve Alford hit a few of them.
He hit a few of them, and I believe he got engaged to his wife Tanya. He put the ring on top and had her go down and unhook the net, and the ring was sitting up there. So yeah, because he always had to leave the gym by making the net snap up and hang itself. So
fun stuff to talk about. Coach, it's been a lot of fun tonight. We'll look forward obviously to doing it more. Let's go get a win against Furman.
Let's go. Let's get everybody out to McAllister Fieldhouse and get after them.
All right, 7 o'clock at McAllister Fieldhouse. It's the Bulldogs hosting the Furman Paladins, and it's going to be a great opportunity to see a really good rivalry. And come out there and support the Dogs. dogs. They need your help, and they need the noise, they need the energy, all that stuff in the building. That'll do it for us. I want to say thanks to all of our friends at El Jefe. I want to say thanks, of course, as always, to Cutwater Spirits. I want to say thanks to Lucas and Ryan and all the others, and all of you that came out here tonight to El Jefe as we bring you Beyond the Barracks. That'll do it for tonight. We will talk to you Wednesday. Pre-game coverage for that game at 6:30 right here. We will talk to you then. Good night, everybody, and go Dogs.
You're at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, March 6th through the 10th for the 2025 Ingalls SoCon Basketball Championships. It's fun for the whole family as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a title and a berth in the big dance, the NCAA tournament. This year, your support will directly benefit small businesses impacted by Hurricane Helene. Book your travel and tickets at SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harris Cherokee Center Asheville box office today.